But before that, you are part of the panel, and we welcome you to, we'll have the phone lines open, so you're welcome to call and contribute. Let us know whether you agree, disagree, or maybe just weigh in and give us your challenges or maybe your experience. Would love to glean from that, and you can do that as our phone lines are going to be open. You can also do that on social media. The hashtag is KTN Morning Express. If you'd like to tweet, it's at KTN Kenya, or you can tweet me directly, and that's at Michael G. Gitonga. To the panelists, and I'll start with the lady. We have Dr. Bertha Kaimenyi, who is an author and also a lecturer at Daystar on communication. Thank you for joining us this morning.
Thank you.
We are also joined by Reverend Ken Aringo. Thank you for joining us. And last but not least, John Willis Njoroge, who is also an author. And you've written several books in regards to life generally and, the part where men play. But let me start with you, Dr. Bertha. As an author, and you've talked about a balanced life in your book.
Yes.
Do you think we're living a balanced life generally as we are with the kind of pressures that we have?
Not really. I don't think we are, because we have been taught that happiness comes from building a successful career and making money. So that's what most of us are pursuing, instead of realizing life comes from balancing your heart, your mind, your soul, and your body. So all these areas must move together in a balanced way. Yes.
What changed, and where did it change, given that sometimes I imagine how those, our predecessors lived. They sat there and basically their duties were also quite stressful. I think women would have to go for firewood and water. Men would have to go hunting. I mean, the pressures maybe have only changed by virtue of the fact that now our hunting is different.
Yes, traditionally the rules were very clear, and I usually say the more things change, the more things remain the same. There are some things that will never change. The role of the mother as the homemaker, as the one who brings up children basically at the home, will never change. The role of the father as the priest, the protector, the prophet, and the provider of the home will never change. And so, with modernization, has come the assumption that these roles don't have to be taken seriously. And so, we are pursuing a successful career, which is wrong. So, as we got educated, and with the current thinking that our perception has come from having more things and more property, that does not mean our role has changed. It remains the same.
It remains the same.
And if we neglect that basic role, then we are having the consequences in society that you are seeing. I teach at the university. When I see the negative behavior of my students, drinking, smoking, not taking their studies seriously, being pushed to come to class, because parents call us, lecturers, they ask us, is my son in class? And we say, this is nonsense. Parents should not be calling us. If your child is over 18, they should come to class on their own.
They should already be self-motivated.
Self-motivated. But that is not so. For us, when I was being brought up, our parents never knew what we do in school, what is biology or geography. They didn't know those things, But the way they were self-driven. Because of the way they brought us up, they brought us to be responsible. They brought us to make our own decisions. When I was in Machakos Girls, my parents never took me to Machakos Girls. They put me in the bus, and they believed our lives to Machakos. They never even had SMS calling me at every town, have you arrived? How are you
getting into the bus was a guarantee that you're going to get there, and that's not the way it is today.
No, parents had faith. That's today's parents, we are living in a vacuum of
different kind of way. Yes. John, do you term that as an accurate description of how we are living our lives today?
I think it's true, because as humanity we have moved from defining our legacy to being defined by assets. And as a result of that, there are few dimensions of life that we abandon. And what we abandon actually, when we are defined by assets and not legacy, we abandon our children. And so values are not passed from one generation to another. And as a result of that, we realize that children get to a point where they don't know what to do. They don't even know who they are. And the first thing that we need to do is to define for them where they are and help them define who they are.
Yeah. All right, Reverend Ken,
Yes.
The church, of course, plays a very huge role in ensuring that our society is shaped and defined. And of course, it has come under a lot of fire by virtue of the fact that some have said it has failed in its role. Do you feel it has failed, or does the church actually just receive what is already broken at home and tries to repair?
Good one. Many times I don't think of myself as a mechanic in a repair shop. I believe it's a work that needs joint effort. I need to state here that there are times I meet people who come to church and they think when they meet this pastor, they meet God, there's a miracle that will happen in their life and they will just find a change. And most of us are not willing to take the long journey of investing in ourselves. And the idea of hocus pocus, I'll just blow it out, it will happen, especially character issues. The church has a central role of molding lives, but we cannot mold in isolation of the other facets of society. We work together. And I'm very, very strong believer that we can't point a finger at anyone, not even the parent, the church, or the state. I had a troubled childhood, Mike, and I remember growing up with the parents who were very tough on me. And there are things they told me that I remember till today, that at the end of the day, we will not always be here for you. One day you have to stand on your own.
But as much as you call it troubled, Reverend, look at who you are today as compared to others who may not have had a troubled childhood, and maybe you could define for us what you mean by troubled so that we get it clear.
I'm that kid who did not want to go to school. But when I went to school, I thought I want to do my own thing. And I was told, you know, one day you will have to stand on your own. And we will not always be here for you. And one time someone challenged me that, you know, you're not a mistake. You came here loaded with something. And I'll never forget that message. That was the best news. I discovered that my greatest solution was inside, outside. And I connected with my purpose, my God-given purpose. And I think as a minister, many times I challenge people. All of us landed loaded with something. Are we able to unleash it so that someone else can get? So we have been blessed to be a blessing. The fact that you're alive is a blessing.
It's a blessing.
Someone died before arrival. And you are here. What are you doing?
All right.
That's my child.
Dr. Kaimenyi, how do we balance that? Because, again, I come back to the balanced life. And from what Reverend Ken Aringo is saying, the bigger challenge that we have in today's society is that we're really trying to have our children also express themselves. Where we are coming from, we were not given that much room. It was either you're becoming a doctor or a mechanic, not a mechanic, a doctor, a lawyer, you know, an engineer.
Yes.
And those were the defined ones. Anything less of what your parents thought to be the thing to be was you're either called stupid. I mean, you're called names. And maybe that's the trouble that he's talking about. But in today's parenting, we're trying to mold children and give them that space to become who they're supposed to be. How do we do that in a balanced way? Because again, there's also the responsibility of the parent to try and guide them.
Yes. Now, there are two ways to look at it. There is where some of us came from ideal families, that our parents taught us how to be parents and how to succeed in society and how to change society. There is also the other part where our pastor is saying some of us may not have grown in those homes where those things are molded. So, for example, for my case, my father used to tell me that the best career of a woman is being a mother. Okay? So for me, even going to the PhD level, I knew my first role is being a mother and a wife, you know. And so we also need to bring that training and to consistently have it in our curriculum, even in our schools, is that being a parent or a wife and a mother or a father and a husband are the basic roles of society.
Do you think some of the effects we have now are because roles have become the roles that we had before have become blurred? Exactly.
They have become blurred because some of us modern parents are not demonstrating that. We are not showing that to our children. You know, because like I say, I teach at the university and I hear this from my students. A young girl will tell me at the university, you know, I don't know how to cook because I've not seen my mom in the kitchen. We have 2 house girls, we have our own person doing the work on the outside, cleaning the cars. So our role is just to watch movies, you know, and be on social media. And the mother, when she's home, mom is also on TV, she's also on social media. So these children are being molded by the wrong parents, you know. And I keep on going back to the first president, Jomo Kenyatta, who held our current president in his hands wherever he was. He was a very busy president, but he knew to make another president, you enthroned your child with your hands wherever he was, in the office, seeing dignitaries. He was always holding Uru's hand. And I tell parents, we can mentor our children even as we work in our careers. And I'm not saying we neglect our careers. You know, I'm a university lecturer, I'm a preacher, like he's saying, I campaign for balanced living, but I'm always at home. I do these things.
How, in a balanced manner?
In a balanced
I'll
manner.
come back to you on how you manage to balance that, because maybe that balance is what is lacking.
Yes.
And somebody might confuse you for trying to say that the woman is meant to be at home in the kitchen and that's it. But I guess that's not what you're saying. But let me come to you, John, on the question of roles and the fact that that has sometimes been forced by the kind of world we're living in today. And I'll give an example where you have been mothers previously or wives who are not the best. That we
and so the key are the remain so compete against marry. We have a on yes, and so we need to implement the one complementing this person, because social dynamics are they are there, and the other challenge is that the setting where we are living today, because I live in an apartment, so in this apartment it's not a village. When you get to your house, you just lock your door. You only meet when you're discussing security, what affects...
and often it's when there has been an issue.
Yes, but when it comes to... but when it comes to now discussing matters, life and all that, it's interesting because we just say, no, I don't want to get involved in these issues, yeah.
All right, Reverend Ken, that's an interesting angle to things, because the way we are socialized. We grew up in the olden times in villages, and there's even the common and known saying that a child is not brought up by an individual but by a village. But that was talking about how social we are. That has, however, changed, because we're in a very closed up society, like he mentions, especially those living in urban areas. You live in a space where you lock yourself up. Your child is your business and nobody else's, and therefore we are growing up in bubbles. Is that a concern and a problem that we need to address?
Urgently. I'll say so because like the scenario that John has just talked about, you know, I look at good neighborliness. For me, the Nyumba Kumi approach is something I've been to a country where it works. And I thank God for the number of times I've been to that country just on my own, not to benchmark, but to learn for myself as a parent. I look at how we relate with each other today. There's a lot of mistrust. If I saw you talking to my son or daughter, Mike, outside there, nimekuja naye hapa, and alikuwa anakuambia ni the first thing. But kitambo, when I went and strayed to the neighbor's place, my parent knew that person is as a parent as I am. And probably because of the experiences we've seen. We've seen people are pedophiles, people who take advantage of, and so we become very afraid. So we're operating from a place of fear. Now, one definition I've come to discover about fear is FEAR, false evidence appearing real. That sometimes we magnify our fear so much so that the good thing, the value you can offer to my child in that interaction, I block them from it. And so I locked in this bubble in my house, think I have everything. But I strongly believe that no one has monopoly of ideas, of wisdom. We are here, the three of us, so that we can all have input. I heard you say at the beginning, even the viewers are part of this panel. So there's no exclusivity here. That trusting approach to life, that there's something I can pick from Mike, something I can pick from Daktari, something I can pick from John. I'm a minister of youth, young people. I do a lot of ministry to teens. I go for camps with young people, and I carry my 2 boys. And they come with me. They will say, Daddy, they went to this church. Remember the boy was saying this? Hey, that scared me. And was talking about an age mate who shared something. And my son was like, hey, that happens. And you see, now they are experiencing my world. So I don't leave because I'm so busy. I say, let me tag them along, my way of holding in their hand, so that they know my business. When I bring home that money, I say, so actually they ask me, Daddy, how do you earn? And when I have that envelope, whatever I was appreciated with, when I've given a talk, say, this is my token. It's called a token of appreciation. Someone has appreciated my labor. Say, oh, so people are paid for, yeah. If I gave them something they didn't know. So I'm teaching them the value of money, the value of my time, but also bringing them along so that they see life.
All right, Dr. Kaimenyi, your balance, because as a woman who has achieved a lot,
Yes.
you've still managed to balance. I believe you have children. I don't know how old your children are.
Yes, I'll let you know.
Yes. Yeah, let us know. But more the question of balance. How do you manage to do that?
Yes, I managed to balance my life because at a very early age, I knew my role as a wife and a mother is the priority. So that I started teaching at the university, and I was executive assistant to the VC. We are always in meetings during the day. Sometimes those meetings will run in the evening. Then I realized I'm experiencing some conflicts because I'm getting home very late. You know, and my children are either asleep. And I told the VC, I want to leave this position. I want to go to the classroom so that I have my classes in the morning, and by afternoon, I'm in my car at 2 going home. And the VC told me, how are you to do that, Dr. Kaimenyi? Because when my children are growing up, my wife was a stay-home mom. And I will encourage you to do that. For 15 years. And I tell women, you are the one who sets the standards for your life, not your boss. You are the one who should tell the boss what you want, not your boss dictating
What he wants.
what he wants. Because you should not serve your organization. Your organization should serve you, because you do it the other way. Okay, so the VC allowed me to be a lecturer for the last 15 years, and every day, 4 o'clock, I told my children, it is my role to be at home at 4.
Was there an element of something in that?
Exactly. And at the time, there's and for your children, because you are the one who carries the children in your stomach. So at the initial stages of our children, when they are growing up, toddlers, it is assumed the mother. We should love them, we should own them, affirm them, and give them the confidence as the father comes home in the evening. So it is the mother to stay home at most of the time. And we have to sacrifice that. That's why I said, when Obama became president, she was to be the mother-in-chief. Being an Harvard graduate did not guarantee her to have a job. And for me, being a university lecturer, I got my PhD when I was 29. You know? And women were complaining when I stayed home. When my son, who is 22 now, was born, I stayed home for 1 year.
Wow.
And women were saying, this Linda has a PhD. Oh, what is she doing at home? And I told the women, having a PhD does not mean working. It means I become a better mother, a better wife.
Okay. Reverend Ken Aringo, let me come to you. And I'm sure many men sit back and, wow, if I can find a wife like that. But practically, it is a very difficult wife to find today. One who sacrifices her passion for the sake of the family. And we're seeing some of the repercussions. For instance, we had recently the children who had finished their O-levels, and were caught drinking and, in sex orgies and things that many would detest. But how did we get there?
Wow. I think slowly, one of the things that when I watched the incident, I knew that it was not an event. It was a continuum. In terms of an opportunity, we have done it for 23 years now, Mike. So sex is of the think big is that really shook us from God. Do that. They are doing small things. This was just a celebration. There's something we used to say nowadays, the video and the phone is there for them to close in a special way. Let's abuse the guy who we think is our, but the truth is they abuse a build-up of emotion in these young people. If there's something I'd really decry today for parents, can we create an unchurch? Can we have a people less playing for 1 hour? As and we kick that ball, come out very tired. You are. There's so much food. They're just playing. All day, TV the whole day. After they touch it. Energy is not spent.
What has to be that we have now? Even during time, there were people who were rioters. It's not that something that's starting now. There were people who would still go, out of the norms. I remember when I was in high school, there were people who would still smoke bangi, although at that the training I had was that if you smoked bangi, you go mad. So keep off. But that's happened. But it seems to be exaggerated now, or because we have more technology and more access to it, or has that actually changed?
I would say when ambition becomes greater than the vision, problem. Vision that we have. The result of that is with technology and it becomes and I remember one entered a boy from Germany, and the father came to pick him, and I asked the father, what makes your son not be interested in computer games? And those create something and make the boy games. I think that the result games to learn them, then provide and in function. And so if you can afford to create a plan for your company, how much more do you need for you? Becoming a father is the highest calling of a man because it's life expecting.
Very fast that we should have, which is the home. The place of action.
Challenges of parenting that I teach all over as I go around the country, because that's what I'm doing now. Between 0 and 5, you are a commander, a policeman. So if you miss that, to command your children, to discipline your children, to respect authority, to respect the visitors. That's why we're seeing those boys who are sort of abusing the cabinet secretaries. Those children have not been taught to respect authority, to respect their parents, to respect their uncles and aunties. So that when a visitor comes in and a child is sitting watching TV, you must stand up, give them sandals to wear, and if you don't, the father or the mother beats you. Because spare the Lord and spoil the child.
Commander.
So
0 to 5.
0 to 5, you are commander, policeman. And if you lose your children at that point, you go to to suffer in the later stage, which I'm going to mention to you just now. So between 0 and 5, you're a commander, a policeman. Between 6 and 12, that's where most of the character development goes on. Training about what some of us have seen about money. It is you know, the greatest teacher in a child's life, the best book that they ever read is the parents. So you train them how to make money. You know, you train them how to handle relationships, boyfriend and girlfriend. You train them about their purpose. What am I in this world for? Okay. You train them about when they get married, what is expected of them. You train them about responsibility, cleaning the house, cleaning the car. Because I visit people's homes, I see the children are watching movies. The father is washing the car, and I have a teenager in the house watching movies. So it is your responsibility to make sure between 6 and 12, that child can clean, that child can cook, that child, and homework is not the first priority in the home. I told my children, I don't want to see anybody doing homework when they should be cooking, cleaning, reading a book to become a great person, because exams don't make you a great person. So between 6 and 19, I mean 6 and 12, that's when character development is shaped. That's when you really make a person. But Mike, that's when parents are not there.
That's
Between 6
yes.
and 12. Most parents are busy now pursuing their careers. And most of parents are doing homework when children are doing homework. Now, who will help who? Mom is doing homework, dad is doing homework, the children are doing homework, so who will help who? So between 13 and 19, you are coach. Okay? That's why the things you taught between 6 and 12, now you are coaching to make sure that actually they are being done. For example, when my children were teenagers, I did not necessarily have to be home. But I know when I come home, I'll check. Because what gets done is what you check.
Right.
Did you clean the car? Did you read a book? If you say we read the book, who moved my cheese? I read it first myself. So that when I ask my son or my daughter, they can actually...
You can tell if they've read
read
or
it.
not.
So that's why I'm developing discipline. I'm developing character. You know, I'm training them how to respect the elders. So that if I hear my son abused a teacher or somebody out there, I'll tell the police to put them in prison. Because I remember in high school, there's a child who abused the principal. The father told the school, put this guy in prison. So that discipline is lacking now. How can a old teenager abuse a cabinet secretary? That child,
That's wrong.
Something is wrong. So,
and with very foul language, for that matter.
because when I was in Kemu, the Commission for Higher Education went around visiting schools, and they were asking what has gone wrong. Where are the character development that we used to have in our children? But nobody is taking responsibility. So I feel there must be a policy in our schools what the role of the parents is. Because when my son went to Strathmore told us, we don't bring up your children. So the Strathmore gave us a course for 3 weeks, all the parents. And if you don't attend that course on parenting boys, your child is taken away from Strathmore.
Wow.
So we need that sort of policies in our schools where parents' role the parents are aware of their role,
Reinforced.
and they're enforced that a father must be home in the evening.
All right.
That's what I saw in Singapore. That's why these Asian tigers are growing, because mentoring children starts at the very bottom.
Right.
That you cannot smoke in a house with a young child, even if you are, or even can't smoke in a building, even if it's your building. That's enforced in Singapore. Now, the last stage is from 20 and above. This is why you are consultants. Okay? You cannot force your child to do anything 20 and above. You sit down with your son or your daughter, you talk about things, you talk about life, you consult each other.
Right.
But because you never did it between 0 and 5, you can go to command 20 and above, which doesn't work.
You cannot, that cannot happen. All right, Reverend Ken Aringo, time fails us, but your closing comments and generally advice to any parent out there who would want to know, how do I begin this in case I have missed the stages that we've been given by Dr. Kaimenyi?
Friendship building. I keep saying that it's easier to talk and mentor, direct, friend. The vacuum. So all the commands are bubble. Uncle.
These
Okay, maybe we're not able to communicate right now, but Ashley Mazuri is on standby. She's going to be taking you up on, News Center coming up in just a while. For us, from here on Morning Express, we say thank you for watching. Do have yourselves a good day. Take care of yourselves and each other.